Alright, hello again everybody. Today's lesson I'm going to show you how to create a business card using Photoshop, and we're going to incorporate the logo that we created in Adobe Illustrator into it that we made earlier. So this is kind of what the finished product that we're going to be looking at here. So I'll show you how to make this. So first of all, go to File and Open, and I'm going to send you this template that I want you to use. It's a business card template. Okay, click Open, and we're going to create our business card on this. I'll explain why we're using this and how it works during class. First thing I want you to do with this is just unlock both these layers to begin with. Click and drag the guides layer, throw it in the bin because we don't need it, and this layer here, click and drag it down and delete it as well, so we're left with that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the background. So grab your gradient tool, which will probably be hiding behind your paint bucket. So click and hold and get that out there. You'll notice up here there are some options. Make sure linear gradient is selected, which is that one there. And just click to edit the gradient in here. Now you can choose whatever colors you want. I might have a blue and a purple. I might keep the blue. To change the colors, make sure you just choose the bottom one. Click once, or double click, sorry. And you can get your color picker up here, and then you can kind of choose whatever kind of color you want for your business card. You don't have to do the same as me, of course, but it's up to you. Click OK. If you want to change the blue, just double click and change the blue. And that's all you need to do. Now these little tabs up the top, just click them once and just make sure the opacity is at 100%. If it's not, drag it up like that. Okay, so they're both at 100%, which is what we want. Click OK, and now with our gradient tool selected, we're just going to click, hold, and drag from one corner to the other roughly, and draw a nice gradient across there for our background. Now let's create a new layer with this button here. Click that, and first of all let's change the name of it. Double click on layer 1 and just call it stars. It's a good idea to name your layers as you go, especially when you're working with a lot of them, which we will be. Double click the bottom one. Let's just change it to background. Okay, so we don't get too confused. Click back on your stars layer because that's the one we want to be working on. And let's fill it with black. So to do that, let's just get our bucket and paint bucket tool, which is hiding behind there, and I want to fill it with black. At the moment our color is set to white, so to reset the foreground and background color to black and white, just click that little like button there, and I can swap between them. Black we've got, let's fill it with black. Okay, now we're going to create our stars, so go up to filter and let's go to noise and add noise. Alright, now make sure that your amount is set to 400% like mine. Make sure uniform is selected and monochromatic is ticked on. Now, it's also a good idea to make sure your preview button is ticked on. So whatever adjustments in here, you will preview on your canvas. Okay, so click OK, that's all we need to do there. And now we're going to blur this slightly. So if we go into Filter, Blur, and let's go to Gaussian, put a Gaussian blur on it, and I want you to have the radius set to 0.7 pixels. Okay, make sure preview is ticked as well so you can see the preview. Click OK, and now let's get rid of some of the stars. So to do that, let's go into our menu item image, and let's go to adjustments. Let's adjust the levels, and let's play around mainly with these two sliders here, because we'll darken this up, and the more we darken it, the more stars will get eliminated, because there's not that many stars in the sky when we look at it. Okay, and you can have as little stars or as many stars as you like within whatever you think looks good. Sorry, however spaced out you want them. So that's looking pretty good. I'll click OK there, and we can't really see the background layer at the moment. So let's drop the stars layer opacity down to around 50%. Okay, so now we're getting this kind of cool space theme going on here. Now let's add some stardust to our business card design let's create another new layer here, and let's double click it, change the layer name to Stardust. There we go, press enter to finalize it, and now we're going to use another filter here, but before we use the filter, we want to change the foreground and background colors. We're going to create some clouds. So I'll just double click the foreground color and I'm going to set it to white. And then I'm going to double click on the background color and I might set it to, I don't know, let's just try green. You can choose an experiment with whatever colors you like. And I'm going to render some clouds with the filter here, and the clouds are going to be white and green. So if I go to filter and render, and let's render the clouds, and there we go, we've got some green and white clouds. I don't know how it's going to look, but we'll soon find out. Okay, now we want to make the clouds a bit more vivid by using the smudge tool. Actually no, let's go into levels first to make them more vivid. So same as we did before. Image, adjustments, levels, and let's just bring these sliders down so that we can the clouds look a bit vivid. Alright, something like that. You can play around with it as much as you want. I'm just going to click OK on that. And then we're going to smudge them a bit with the smudge tool, which is this tool right here with the finger pointed. If you can't see it, it could be hiding behind here. So get your smudge tool, click on your brush in your options up here. Make sure you've got the soft brush selected with the blurred edges there, and probably about 200 pixels. You can start to move your pixels around. Now my computer's going to think a bit, and yours probably will too, because it's quite a big file, and moving a lot of these pixels around the computer needs time to think. Okay, now I suggest that you work a bit more on this than what I do, but for the sake of this tutorial I want to move on. So smudge your clouds in a diagonal direction as much as possible. So that they become wispy and they look a bit more like stardust. Now, we can't see what's underneath, so let's change the layer blend mode, which is in here, to overlay. When we do this, it blends with the background layers better, and now we're looking like some pretty cool space theme right there. And we can also drop the opacity of the layer to about 50%, so the effect is a little bit more subtle as well. Okay, very good. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to duplicate or copy the background layer. So if you click this layer here and then right click it and then go to duplicate, and we'll just call it background copy, and that's fine. And drag and drop it onto the top layer. Click drag and drop it onto the top layer there, and let's just this is just going to add some more colored variation to it. Let's change the blend mode to color. There we go. And look, that's it for this first part. I'm going to do this in 2 parts. Alright, have a go at doing that, and I'll be back with part 2 very, very shortly. Okay.